The season of iPhone 17 leaks and speculations is well and fully begun, and just days after dummy units of Apple's 2025 flagship phones leaked online, we've received a different set to pour over, which displays the iPhone 17 glass and metal revamp in a little more detail. These fresh dummy unit photographs come courtesy of well-known tipster Sonny Dixon, and it seems as if we've obtained all four models: the iPhone 17, the iPhone 17 Air, the iPhone 17 Pro, and the iPhone 17 Pro Max, or iPhone 17 Ultra, possibly. Dummy units like the ones displayed here are based on schematics acquired from the supply chain and provide accessory producers a chance to get their items ready for launch day. They also enable the rest of us to check out phone designs in advance. When it comes to the makeover of the iPhone 17 Pro and the iPhone 17 Pro Max, with thick back camera bars, it's a style that's been heavily leaked previously. We may also see the slimmer camera bar predicted to debut on the rear of the iPhone 17 Air. What these dummy units bring that prior leaks haven't truly showed us is the manner that glass and metal will be integrated on these iPhone designs. You may see a faint imprint on the Pro and Pro Max versions, right below the camera bar. That indicated area will supposedly be glass, allowing wireless MagSafe charging. The other portion is reported to be constructed of aluminum. That's quite a shift between the iPhone 16 Pro and the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Meanwhile, it appears like the design of the iPhone 17 will be along very similar lines to the iPhone 16, while the iPhone 17 Air is a whole new phone, replacing the iPhone 16 Plus, said to be super slim, so we don't have any precedent to compare it to. We've also heard whispers about memory and camera enhancements for these phones, improvements in video recording, and maybe a beneficial reverse wireless charging function. The phones should make their appearances somewhere in September, and we'll need to wait until then to see what really comes to fruition when Apple properly introduces them. While we don't yet know much about the iPhone 17 Air, we were afraid that its purportedly super slim design would entail both a high price and low battery life, but the newest iPhone 17 Air rumor implies that none of those things will be the case. According to Apple observer Mark Gurman, writing in his paywalled Bloomberg newsletter, the iPhone 17 Air will start at $899 in the US. Now that's not exactly cheap, but it is precisely the same price as the iPhone 16 Plus, which would likely make it the second cheapest iPhone 17 model behind the basic iPhone 17. If this pricing allegation is genuine, then there's a fair likelihood the iPhone 17 Air will also have the same beginning price as the iPhone 16 Plus elsewhere, meaning £899 in the UK. In the same essay, Gurman believes the iPhone 17 Air's battery life will be on par with current iPhones, despite the probable compact construction apparently leaving less room for a huge battery. Gurman doesn't indicate how this would be done, but another recent iPhone 17 Air rumor stated that it will employ high-density battery cells. In any event, Gurman also discloses some additional characteristics, suggesting that the iPhone 17 Air will include a camera control button like the iPhone 16 series, and that its bezels would be nearly as tiny as those of the iPhone 16 Pro and iPhone 16 Pro Max. Additionally, he thinks the iPhone 17 Air will feature a 6.6-inch 120Hz display, a dynamic island, a single-lens 48 megapixels camera, and an A19 CPU rather than the A19 Pro that we're anticipating the iPhone 17 Pro and iPhone 17 Pro Max to have. This is essentially stuff that we've heard previously, as is a claim that the phone will be eSIM only internationally, but curiously Gurman also adds that Apple had initially contemplated making the phone completely port-free by not incorporating a USB-C charging connection. Next, Apple's dynamic island, that pill-shaped and fully fungible black area that sits atop your iPhone 16, along with iPhone 15 and iPhone 14 Pro models, is pretty little in the scope of things. As measured by me, it normally lies between 22mm and 32mm broad and 6mm deep. Until you touch it, and then it may extend to 7cm wide by over 3cm deep. It's an occasionally helpful place, but it's also screen real estate that I'm weary of giving up. Please realize that I'm normally a dynamic island fan and wrote about it passionately in 2022. I termed it clever and impressive. But I'm a larger admirer of everything else going on my iPhone 16 Pro Max screen and get tired of this quite wide and sometimes mostly dark cutout. I began wondering the future of this place again, following a slew of fresh speculations surrounding Apple's likely intentions for the iPhone 17. Some think Apple could be attempting to lower the size of the island by decreasing the components stored inside it. One of the reasons I appreciate the dynamic island is that it's not just empty space, and it's also not all screen. Instead, the dynamic island is a brilliant blend of the two. There's a proximity sensor, an infrared projector, and a 12 megapixels camera. Before the dynamic island, there was the True Depth notch, which was debuted with the iPhone X as part of the then new Face ID system. I also adore Face ID with all my heart. It's so much more efficient than unlocking your phone, applications, and services with your finger. What Apple did with the dynamic island is it relocated the notch down and into the screen area, and then divided it up such that the three components are bisected between the two sensors and the one camera by a small amount of active screen. This is how alerts and display components warning you of system activity, a red dot to signal you the camera or microphone is active, for instance, appear between the Face ID sensor and the camera lens. I appreciate this look and how Apple developed all the dynamic island movements to make it seem as if the pill effortlessly expands and shrinks to meet the current purpose. It's all very wonderfully done. Even yet, I want as close a pristine iPhone 17 screen as feasible. What the iPhone display was before the iPhone X. I realize it was smaller and of a lesser quality, but it had no odd notch, not even a cutout. In the world of current edge-to-edge screens, this is nearly but not quite a pipe dream. The Samsung Galaxy S24, for instance, features only a small drill-through for the front-facing camera. On the internal flexible screen of the Z Fold 6, Samsung covers the camera cutout with pixels that vanish when it's time to shoot a selfie. This is what I want with the iPhone 17. No more half measures to accommodate the True Depth module. I want Apple to discover a solution to permanently conceal Face ID and the proximity sensor behind the display. I wonder whether one of these can be downsized enough to reside in the ultra-thin screen bezel. For the 12 megapixels front-facing camera, let's take the Samsung method and conceal it with live pixels that change to translucent when it's selfie time. You may assume this would destroy the dynamic island. It may, but the notion of exposing app status and other activity alerts might be turned over to Siri. Maybe it could occasionally transition from the screen around glow to a dynamic island-like animation that temporarily shows at the top of the screen. I'd activate it when you shake the phone. Considering that Siri's Apple Intelligence upgrade is expected to provide more third-party app expertise to its digital assistant, I believe this makes logical. Even if Apple does away with the actual island and all those small status messages, would we miss it that much? How frequently do we have to gaze at our phones to know what's going on? If the status or activity update is so essential, it should be a notice. There's a non-0% chance this will happen. The iPhone 17 might, after all, be a big device overhaul. We predict it'll be a much smaller, at least one variant, popularly referred to as the iPhone 17 Air, and feature far better cameras. If the screen experiences a big upgrade, like the tandem OLED technology in the ultra-thin iPad Pro M4 13-inch, then the elimination of the dynamic island makes some sense. It's not that I don't like the dynamic island, but sometimes I feel like I've been stuck on, or at least with, it, and I'm ready for a rescue. Again, we've just seen a flurry of leaks surrounding the iPhone 17 coming September 2025 and the iPhone 18. And if the information in them is genuine, you may want to wait until the latter phone is out for your next iPhone upgrade. First off, a rumor in reputable South Korea publication, the Elec indicates that Apple's camera module suppliers are updating their manufacturing facilities, ready to start pumping out cameras suitable for the iPhone 17 Pro. However, there won't be any periscope lenses for the normal iPhone 17 and the iPhone 17 Air or iPhone 17 Slim, according to the rumor. That reportedly implies no 5x optical zoom improvement to match the Pro and Pro Max next year. Our second tiny morsel of information comes from established tipster Jukanlosreef, who indicates that in low-temperature polycrystalline oxide plus display tech update is in the offing for the iPhone 18 series. Low-temperature polycrystalline oxide is the tech that permits dynamic refresh rates and always-on screens that don't compromise battery life. Although we don't have much information on what the Plus variant of low-temperature polycrystalline oxide comprises, we're thinking it signifies more performance boosts and power efficiency improvements in order to minimize the demands on the battery even further. Last but not least, Chinese leaker Fixed Focus Digital believes that there won't be big advancements in the A19 chips built for the iPhone 17, but there will be in the A20 chips for the iPhone 18, which may be developed with the aid of Intel. Apple currently contracts with TSMC, the Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing company, for its iPhone CPUs, so a transition to Intel would be major and would make the iPhone 18 a more enticing upgrade than next year's iPhone 17. So, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more exciting tech news and updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.